Good afternoon on this glorious October 27th, 2019. We're going to continue off on the What is Evil series. This is the part 2 of the series and the final portion of this series. So, we briefly covered the origins of evil, some of the ways humanity causes some of those calamities, but how can you overshadow the ills around you? It's not going to be easy. And here are a few points that you can relate to, that you can fix those ills around you, especially in this social media climate and climate of entitlement and other things that we have made discussed in the last episode. So I'm just going to go over a few points, and hopefully this will help. This and the next episode, which I'm going to talk about at the end of this, are going to be heavy topics, and they're not going to be just one thing. These are briefly condensed subject matters, so they are maybe, especially when you have questions, can lead to other episodes. So one of them is slowly building positivity around you. That can be daily positive quotes, deep breathing, counting 1 to 10. I am going to be doing another episode that may tie into some of these things. So I'll discuss those matters. Also, you don't want to feed the negativity. It may go away by not feeding it. I know it may sound soft and, I want to give that person a piece of my mind or retaliate or what have you. That can be doing something petty back to them, not something as heavy, but walking away from those situations. And those situations, you have to learn to walk away from the non-important stuff. Leave the small, petty, this tit for tat, so to speak, of wanting to do something back. Well, they did that, I'm going to do this back to them. Mentality that a lot of people nowadays have, and those may be juvenile, and they may not be worth the time and the energy to engage in those situations, because they're childish, mannerisms, for lack of a better term, childish activities, I'm doing this because he did that to me sort of thing. And this is a big one. This is the one that in this day and age is very timely, if you will, and that would be disconnecting from social media or from other medias, because sometimes people can watch the news, CNN, Fox News, MSNBC's, other forms of media, and can be sort of let those things bother them and engage in negativity via the things going on around us. So those things may include, engaging in, most people do, in virtual altercations. That's a lack of a better explanation, arguing in the comment section of Facebook or on Instagram or in the comment section of a CNN article. So those things are done nowadays. So disconnecting on those things, those altercations on social media sites, apps, and comment sections of your favorite sites, like I mentioned, CNN and other media outlets that we may encounter, other people's comments and points of views. And to be honest, that's not real life. They're not standing in front of you, It's behind some computer screen. Will those people, when they come face to face with you, will they actually engage with you, argue with you? Will you want to get in a fight with them, or they get in a fight with you over their political views, social views? Those may not be worth it to you. So those are things to keep in mind, because once again, they're behind some computer screen. It's not real life. Will they have a human interaction for those situations? Can you have a discourse on those things and exchange your differences in person? That's a question that you'll have to really think about when dealing with these sort of situations and things that we may not agree with. Everybody's different. There's things people have, whether it's a relationship or friendship or other means of a relation with one another. We may not agree on the same things. We may not have the same views. We may not even like, what your best friend may like, because we all have different views and tastes, Not everything in this world's for everybody. You can't just block that person who's in front of you, can you? That's where I mentioned walking away. That may be something that may be more feasible and healthier of an action to display and engage in when you come through in that situation. Once again, a future episode I may talk about, relationships, and not just amorous relationships, mostly like friendships, being related to somebody, not even just by blood, but by I know somebody, so they're in relation to that person because they relate to them somehow. Sometimes it's just refreshing, if you will, to deactivate your social media accounts. I know I've done that, and I do that from time to time because it's a healthy activity to do. It's even more difficult if you actually have a purpose for that page, whether it be recording a podcast, a distant relative that you haven't really seen, and they live in Florida and you live in Seattle or Las Vegas or somewhere of great distance, and you want to communicate with them. So, aside from calling them, which may not all the time be convenient, you can, on social media, leave a DM, if it's a personal, interaction, or if it's, public, you have some sort of discourse and engagement with those individuals, because those individuals you have a purpose for dealing with via the social medias. So those things may, make you feel better by doing those things, because it's not easy to walk away from those social media situations, and it may, recharge your batteries, give you a fresh start. Like, I am named this podcast the Clean Canvas Podcast because I've mentioned before, your life, or I've mentioned to people in real life, obviously, that every day is a clean canvas, a fresh start. No matter what your outlook, what you're doing with is, or how you react to things, those things color on that canvas. If you're in the bad mood and you want to stay in the bad mood, what you paint for your day may not be filled with color, joy, vibrantness. But if you want to have a good day, your day will be filled with bright energy, bright illustration by your attitude, because you're painting your day. You're building your day of how you see it and how you want people to see it. So in a way, that can be like a work of art. So that's where the idea of a clean canvas comes from in the Clean Canvas Podcast. There are many ways to break the habit from social media, because dealing with the deterioration of humanity, the way we treat each other, the way we interact with one another via real life or via the internet, social media sites, etc. You may not be making it better by your attitude, how you carry yourself. The other person may, not be doing anything to build and make things good around them, the people around them, engage in those type of things. So, those things may be an eye opener, and they help make you a better person. So those are a brief amount of things. I try to keep these episodes light and soft and not too long. Once I get somebody who I can interview or who wants to have a discourse on any of these subject matters, you're free to contact me and we can set something up. It'll be interesting. It'll be a nice, refreshing discourse with somebody else, and will take care of all the things that you would may or may not want to talk about, etc. We'll settle all those things beforehand. Aside from that, try to keep them under 15 minutes. My next episode is going to be about mental health awareness, or not even awareness, but just the subject of mental health, the history of it. I'm already working on that episode. It's gonna be quite a dense subject matter, as well as a serious one, because mental health, whether or not we want to think about it, may be something that has touched our lives in one way or another. So depression, any of the amounts of mental illnesses that are around, something small from depression all the way down to schizophrenia, there are different things that touch one another's lives, that are something that maybe we may not have thought about. Maybe it's something that we can have a discourse on, maybe in the comment section of this YouTube page. We can have on my social media page. I'm on Instagram now at the Clean Canvas Podcast, and so now we have a lot of discourse on how different subject matters are, and the next one's going to be I don't know how long we're going to have that series for, but it's going to be quite a heavy subject matter. This day and age, there's a lot of talk about that, a lot of concern, a more openness to it, just like all these other discourses. There's a lot of openness to those subject matters. So I'm happy that you're listening to these things. I like these to be free-form, free discussions, things that may open up your eyes, have a nice discussion on these matters. Things that may give you food for thought, maybe things that you can contact me and I'll address some of those things in question forms. I know the next episode there was a question from a supporter, a listener of this podcast, or these recordings as I like to refer to them as, and hope you guys can enjoy these and give me feedback. Thank you, and I appreciate you listening. Till the next episode on mental illness. I will tune in again later. Thank you. Be safe, stay positive.